Hello everyone, this is Dr. Geri Puleo and I'd like to welcome you to this mini webinar on the ROI of engaged employees, how employees' engagement affects the bottom line. So here's the very first question we need to start out with. What exactly is this thing called engagement? Well, in this case, it doesn't have to do with getting an engagement ring and planning to get married. In the workplace, engagement refers to the degree or the extent to which employees fully occupy themselves in their work. In other words, they're not just going through the motions, but they're really committing on the physical, the intellectual, and emotional levels. In other words, they're taking their whole being, that wonderful thing that makes us all humans, and applying that to the work that they have to do for their employer. Employee engagement basically answers a fundamental question: how strongly committed are you to both your role in the company as well as to your employer? The reason why engagement is so important in today's workplace is because in this environment of hyperactive competitiveness, you need to have your employees fully committed so that you can achieve your competitive advantage. To engage employees is not just something that you wave a magic wand and woo, suddenly all employees are engaged. Rather, it requires an investment on the part of the company. The first investment is time. Engaged employees need to trust their employers. They need to feel confident that the employer is going to do what's right for both them and the organization. And that doesn't happen overnight. It takes time to build that necessary level of engagement. Taking that time also requires a great deal of mental and emotional energy on the part of the direct supervisors, the managers, and those high-level senior executives in the C-suite. You need to create a culture that continuously reinforces your employees and encourages them to give everything that they can to the job. But you also have to respect that contribution. And therein lies the third investment: reciprocity. If you expect your employees to commit and engage fully to your organization, then you also have to commit to be fully engaged with them. In other words, you don't do things just because it's good for the bottom line on those financial reports, but you do things in the company that are really going to support the employees and to help them succeed. Because the bottom line is, when employees succeed, then you as a company succeed. Let's talk about the real bottom line effects of having employee engagement. A lot of times, engagement, commitment, and things like that are all considered to be the soft skills of business. In other words, they don't have that real hard bottom line result. Well, a lot of research has been conducted, and companies have applied these findings in managing their workers, and there is a real bottom line result of employee engagement. Consider Intuit. Intuit found that their highly engaged employees were 1.3 times more likely to be a high performer. Now, what does that mean when you're a high performer? It means you're kind of going above and beyond to create that excellence. And when you have employees committed to excellence, then the company as a whole will also perform in an excellent way. Intuit also found out that engaged employees, those who commit to both their role in the organization as well as the organization itself, are 5 times less likely to leave the company. And considering what the cost of turnover is, this can create a huge bottom line savings. Let's take another example. Caterpillar. Now, these particular results occurred in their European plant. They found that their engaged employees increased their output by 70%. 70%, that's a huge increase. And even more importantly, they did it in less than 4 months. That's a little over a quarter. Imagine what your company could do if your employee output increased by 70% in 4 months. They also discovered that these decreases in attrition, absenteeism, and overtime led to $8.8 million in annual savings. That's a big chunk of change. But probably the most important reason why employee engagement is so crucial to your bottom line is because your employees are your only non-duplicatable competitive advantage. It takes all your employees working together, committing fully their energies, their attention, their physical, emotional, and intellectual resources. It takes all of that to put the pieces together to gain a competitive advantage over your competition. You can't reverse engineer that. Engaged employees, that human component, is truly your key competitive advantage.